world surrounded by franchises, reboots, and shared universes. An elite team of podcasters will risk body and soul to investigate the depths of intellectual properties, one multiverse, subgenre, and trend at a time. Who are we? We're the IP Squad. Welcome back to the IP Squad and our ongoing investigation into live-action film adaptations of video games. I'm John Campbell. Joining me for this specific investigation, because this is full team coverage, or as we're calling this, a Calling All Cars season, we've got Michael Listman.
Hey, how's it going?
I mean, Listman, this was a no-brainer when I was putting the schedule together.
Well, yeah, it's got JCVD in it. That's how you know that I gotta be here.
That's the thing. So a lot of people I'm pulling for their video game knowledge. I don't know what your relationship with the Street Fighter video game franchise is.
I have played Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And I know what the characters generally look like. And that's about. I've never been like a huge fighting game person.
I'm in a similar boat. Yeah.
I'm vaguely aware of the characters in Street Fighter. Whenever a character showed up in this movie, I had enough knowledge to be like, why the fuck do they do this to this character? You know, like that
Oh, yeah. Because I mean, right off the bat, I have a very similar relationship with Street Fighter, by the way. I was more of a Mortal Kombat guy, still not as much, but I feel like mythology-wise, character-wise, I've read Mortal Kombat comics. I always just liked the world and characters of Mortal Kombat better myself.
Well, Mortal Kombat cares more about story and narrative than
Right.
Street Fighter. Like, technically, yes, there is a narrative, one-player mode in Street Fighter, but that's not why people come to Street Fighter.
Right.
Mortal Kombat's more known for their narratives.
Right, yeah, the mythology of it. I can actually tell you things about Sub-Zero and Scorpion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas here...
And I will say, that does make, a Street Fighter movie seem like, what could it even be?
Well,
I don't know.
And
I guess it's this.
Yeah, because I will say, one of the things this movie does that's very similar to... There's only the second episode of this season. Last week we talked about the Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993.
Great film.
I mean, a fascinating movie. A fascinating film. But similar to this, you're taking incredibly simple games, and pretty much anything they're adapting in the 90s even Mortal Kombat is a lot of that mythology gets filled in later when the games are able to expand more and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you're taking these incredibly simple, console games or arcade games, a lot of these.
Yeah.
And trying to expand them in an area. And I feel like these first two are examples of they're really trying to complicate these things that are incredibly simple games. Whereas next week's movie, it will be the Mortal Kombat movie. And I feel like that one successfully is just like, it's just dumb fighting.
It's just fighting. Yeah. And that's why I even still like that first Mortal Kombat movie.
It's pretty fun.
It's very fun. I like it more than the one that came out recently.
Wow. I would point of order on that one from me, but fair enough. I really enjoyed the 2021 movie.
The new one. I think and maybe it's all nostalgia. Who knows? But
I will say I have a lot of that nostalgia plays a big role in. I have a soft spot for this week's movie, actually, quite a bit.
Yeah, I had never seen this movie.
That
before.
I think, which I'm very curious because, like me having seen this at like 5 or 6 years old, definitely put some rose-colored glasses on me for this movie.
Of course, yeah. And you're like, oh, JCVD.
Got
Raul Julia.
I mean, little kid me, this was just aimed at me. The whole vibe of it. I loved JCVD. I love Raul Julia from the Addams Family movies. Because to us as kids, that's what he was definitely most famous for.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's my thought was like, oh, hey,
the guy Gomez Adams.
Gomez Adams is in this.
Yeah,
Um,
and just bringing everything to the table in this movie.
yeah. I mean, we can get into this a little bit.
Yeah.
Famously, he was like dying while making this film.
He was dying of stomach cancer, basically. I mean, the movie is dedicated to him because he died pretty much immediately after they finished it.
Yeah, and he knew he was dying while making this film. Is that correct?
I mean, he knew he was very sick at the very least.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. It's so, like, for a movie as inane and nonsensical, and like so many people just like Jean-Claude Van Damme. I don't think he remembers making this film.
He does not.
He is so coked out.
This is the height of his drug addiction, and I think this was like after this movie was like, you need help.
Yeah. But like, that's most of the movie, and then there's Raul Julia being like, I'm gonna give the performance of a lifetime in a Street Fighter movie.
He's in a fucking Shakespeare play.
He is.
Yeah.
I fully buy him as an evil dictator, and I fully believe that he believes he's doing the right thing.
Can I tell you that he did extensive research into real world dictators, and based a lot of his performance on a combination of, he said, Mussolini, Stalin, and Pablo Escobar.
Yeah,
with a lot of Richard III. He brought a lot of Shakespearean Richard III stuff. Because the thing I was saying about Raul Julia, we definitely grew up with him as Gomez Adams with the Addams Family, but this guy was serious theater in his blood, Broadway dude. And it shows. I mean, it shows that his Gomez Adams performance is similarly locked in.
Oh yeah, I mean it's why he's so known for it. It's so good,
Absolutely. And that's the thing about this. It is every scene he's in, he is electric. Your eyes are immediately drawn to him. There is not an ounce of feeling that this guy is sick. He is just crushing every scene. And as much as I love him, this is the most checked out I think I've seen JCVD.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, he doesn't remember making the film.
But it's, look, we love the guy. We admit where his shortcomings as an actor are. But I will say, like, even by JCVD standards, there are some line readings this where I went, oof.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's some rough ones.
He not only is he coked out of his head, he is. Let's start off from this front here, and everyone will say this. Really miscast.
As American GI hero Guile, he's miscast. You say?
Yeah, as I'm from America, a proud American soldier.
This American flag tattoo on his bicep.
The thing about watching this movie, I'm going like, oh right, these aren't really characters; they were designs from a video game. And like the main thing about Guile is that he's American, right? Like that is
the main thing.
Yeah, he's the Captain America of the Street Fighter games.
Yeah, and with a stupid haircut.
I wanted the haircut to be stupider in the movie.
I did. Of course, yes, absolutely.
Because they died.
They gone all in on everybody.
Because several of the people they do go all in on, and then some of the people they hold back on.
Yes, weirdly.
Which I think speaks to a weird tone about this movie.
Yeah, they can't quite lean in as much as they want in some ways, and then they go, there are
parts of it that are very cartoony, and then there are parts of it that want to feel more like a grounded action movie.
Yes.
And
maybe and that's a little bit, going into like the Mario movie, right? Like they just, I don't think Hollywood knew what to do with video games at that time. And they're only barely figuring it out now, honestly.
I mean, even now, it's still really, as much as we talk about, like, we're getting good ones now. Yeah, it's like we're getting some good stuff now. And as we'll continue to talk about, mostly on TV, most of the really good video game adaptations have been television series.
That is true.
And I think that there's a lot, and we won't be covering any of those because we're just doing movies. And also, note for future things, we're only doing theatrically released movies. Otherwise, I'd be here all day and my brain would melt if I also did straight to video stuff. And that's the same reason we got rid of animated stuff too, is just to keep
I mean,
this.
stuff. And then is Resident Evil going to be its own
Resident
category?
the Mila Jovovich movies will be its own. You're gonna come on
Okay.
a later episode. We're gonna do the Welcome to Raccoon City movie.
Oh God, I'm so ready to be mad.
I'm already. You're already feeling the rage from that. Here's the thing about this movie that I think speaks to some of the tone we're talking about. I want to talk about writer-director Stephen E. D'Souza.
Okay.
Because this is a writer. This is not tour film, Listman. This is a writer-director. And I believe making his directorial debut, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Is it the last thing he made?
No. Well, kind of. The last theatrically released thing he made.
Okay.
Let's say
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Yeah, because he wrote Die Hard.
So
Man, he wrote like a lot of.
Here's
a
the
lot of
thing.
good
He
stuff.
is like the king of the 80s action movie.
Yeah.
Because this guy wrote 48 Hours, Commando, Running Man, but the first two Die Hards, Ricochet, which is a fucking crazy movie with Denzel Washington.
Judge Dredd.
Yeah. He wrote Knockoff also with Van Damme. He wrote future episode of this show, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Creative Life. But this was
Hudson.
Hudson.
Lest we forget.
Well, I will point you to find any interview where he talks about working on Hudson Hawk, because he didn't write that. That was Bruce being like, I see what you wrote, but I'm gonna do my own thing.
Hey, what if it's a musical?
Yeah, what if I sing in this movie, man? Yeah, I'm gonna fucking
don't.
sing now.
Stop me.
There was I've heard D'Souza talk about at a certain point of just like, well, he's gonna change whatever I write anyway, so fuck it, man. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So anyway, I can't blame him too much for that. But this one, he gets full blame for. But it makes sense. They were like, hey, this is the guy. He wants to direct.
Yeah.
We've got this action movie property. And I think one of the things that is an interesting choice about this movie, and I'm wondering if, I assume you latched on to something I did about this as well, which is like, Street Fighter is a martial arts thing.
Yep.
It's not an action. They turned it into a real 90s action movie.
Yeah.
With some martial arts.
Yeah. And that's why Mortal Kombat worked. Because they're like, it's just a martial arts thing. It's a fighting
The
thing.
plot is just they go to a place and there are a series of fights.
Yeah. Like, maybe the plot should have been, and here we go, trying to fix whatever. Maybe the
Welcome
plot should
to
have been
that's all we
an
do on this
international
network.
fighting tournament,
Yeah. Instead,
You
it's
know,
this in. I mean, it's a lot of elements of other D'Souza scripts, right? It's got a lot of the like, destabilization of a country, military forces.
I mean, that is M. Bison. He is a dictator of a.
It's true, but
country.
like the entire thing about, I gotta say, maybe I don't know. There's so many great moments in this movie because I love this movie while also acknowledging, like, objectively, it's not a good piece of film,
right?
but I do enjoy watching it. Like the second he gets on, the idea that Guile gets on CNN or GNN, I think they call it. The Global News Network, which we'll get into the insane thing about Chun-Li and all those guys working for a news organization. But the idea that because just trying to imagine any reality to this of like an Allied Forces commander tough talking a dictator on live television is so fucking funny to me.
There's a couple of moments that make me wonder, what is the message of the film? What is Stephen E. D'Souza trying to say to us? About,
I mean, obviously,
like, jingoism,
dictator
about, like,
bad.
Dictator bad, sure. Negotiations bad.
Yeah.
Only fighting.
I mean, it says about as much about tyrannical rule as like Predator.
Right, exactly. It's just as deep as Predator.
Like, hey, we got a problem in this country. Why don't we just send a bunch of like muscly dudes in there to kick people?
Yeah. I mean, that part doesn't really, like, what they're there for doesn't matter. And I think they recognize when they're making it, like, no, the main thing is the alien. But like,
right,
this movie, I don't know. It really doesn't know what
Well,
it's saying.
actually, it's funny as I say that because Predator did have kind of a point actually to make about like how these guys are thrown away into the jungle for no reason by a government that doesn't have a clear plan.
Right, exactly.
This
Yeah, there
movie,
totally isn't.
and I don't expect any real political messaging out of this, but as you bring up, it should be saying something.
It should at least be coherent. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, uh, I I was particularly taken by the fantastically delivered monologue that Guile delivers
Oh my
to
God.
his troops. Shakespearean, even. I have it here.
Oh,
Who is
please,
it by?
please read it.
All right, I'm not going to do a JCVD.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Impression.
Yeah, give it your best shot though.
But yeah, basically at this point, they've been told by the sniveling, like very clearly a sniveling sort of what would you say?
Oh, he's like a bureaucrat.
Like a bureaucrat who's like, no, we're gonna talk. You know, we're not gonna.
Yeah, this guy's got no
more
balls.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a name. He's just an official. He's played actually by legendary British character actor Simon Callow, who's totally fucking wasted in this movie.
Absolutely, yeah. There's so many people in this movie who you're like, oh yeah, I know this person. Like they had this whole storied career, and they have like 3 lines, and they're completely wasted.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So yeah, Guile has been told that they're gonna start negotiations. The war is over.
Yeah.
So first he starts out strong. Troopers, not troops. Troopers.
Troopers.
I have just received new orders. Our superiors say the war is canceled and we can all go home. He delivers that as if that's the saddest thing anyone would hear in a war.
I'm so bummed to tell you we won't be killing anyone.
Bison is getting paid off for his crimes, and our friends will have died here. Will have died for nothing. But we can all go home. Meanwhile, ideas like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up. But we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm going to get on my boat. I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard that the next bison wannabe is going to feel it. Now, who wants to go home, and who wants to go with me?
They all go with him.
They all go with him. Everyone was very inspired by this. It's giving me notes of Julius Caesar. You know,
a lot of Caesar
you know?
in there.
Antony.
Didn't JCVD do Caesar?
No.
I came to bury Caesar, not to praise him. Yeah. It's one man actually. He plays all the parts.
Again, John, you're describing the perfect.
There is not enough money. Yeah, here's a blank check. You write down what you think is fair, and I will go into the theater and see magic.
Exactly. But that sort of like, and maybe that's where like American media is at the point of like,
I think
hurrah, jingoism.
Well, the 90s, and there's a really good podcast I think I've mentioned before called Unclear and Present Danger, which just examines 90s movies between 1989 and 2001, which is basically, as they talk about, the thought of the podcast is American action movies in search of a villain. Because post-Cold War, pre-War on Terror, there's not a clear American bad guy. And so I think this movie does exist in this, like, look, we don't even really know. Like, we're not in any active conflict. So everything is just sort of theoretical and comic booky, and you know, you're making movies about like you've got Harrison Ford fighting the IRA and Patriot Games, and you're like, I mean that's not really an active threat to the United States. So the movie, that speech in particular seems to, and I don't think the whole movie is saying this, but that speech definitely is this idea about like, man, too many times we've let these sons of bitches get away with it.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's this real like military as force of vengeance, and that is really weird. You would never make something like that now.
No, not even for something as silly as this movie.
Oh no, I feel
like,
like the and actually they are, as we're speaking, working on a new Street Fighter movie, of course, based on the success of that Mortal Kombat movie.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. What is that even going to be
Well, I
though?
do think,
Like,
like you bring up, is I think Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter is tough to adapt.
yeah, yeah.
It doesn't. It does. The world just doesn't. And once again, if you're a big Street Fighter fan and in love with the mythology of it, great. I'm not. I don't. Maybe I'm missing something, but it does feel like that world is not as cohesive as we brought up as the Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat world.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
I guess as long as they stick to the martial arts aspect, then
they are a rumor of this. Who knows? This may either have been confirmed or denied by the time this comes out. I don't know. But our buddy Andrew Koji is up for
oh,
Ryu.
oh, cool. Okay,
And
well,
he'd be
that's
fucking
great.
great in that part.
He would.
Yeah, and that guy actually knows martial arts, and he's a good actor.
As opposed to
This guy,
actually, I would say, I'd say Ryu kind of looked like he knew what he was doing. Ken was the main issue for me. Uh,
Ken,
this,
Ken who rolls in like somebody's suburban dad
he,
with his denim shirt and khaki vest.
it's like for a martial arts film, he's looking a little doughy, and I don't mean to like.
I do. One of the things I love is when they get in the cage fight, and Ryu rips off his shirt, and Ken's like, "I'm fine. I'm gonna keep
good."
mine on. This is gonna just stay on."
Also, can we talk about Ken and Ryu? We're a little all over the place. There's a lot.
Well, because I think an across the board thing that I think will set this up is the objectively bad movie narrative decision to include every single Street Fighter character.
Correct. Yeah.
The movie's a little all over the place, so I think it's okay that we are.
It is. And it doesn't fully. Like the first part of the film, it seemed like they were just naming whoever after various characters with no connection, and then they tenuously, like later on,
they all
connect.
over the course of the movie just slowly turn into their video game counterparts.
Right, exactly. Like for some reason, Chun-Li and Balrog and E Honda work for a news organization.
One of the weirdest things, and then but by the end of the movie, when I'm like, oh, now she's in her. No, now he's in his. Okay, they're all dressed like the characters we know.
Yeah, when Balrog showed up in boxing gloves.
Yeah. And they
I was like, where did they come from?
They shaved his hair into the shape that it is in the game. They gave him that hairline. By the way, did you recognize Balrog?
He looked. No, I did not.
His name is, number one, an amazing name. Grand L. Bush is this actor's name. This is him re-teamed with Stephen E. D'Souza because this is one of the FBI agents, Johnson, from Die Hard.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Grand L. Bush. And a million other like 80s action movies. He's one of the other cops in the Lethal Weapon movies. He's one of James Bond's CIA friends in License to Kill. Like he's a guy who's around. But it is when he shows up, it is like, so this is just the last 20 minutes of this movie is like, okay, so this is a full on cartoon now.
Right, exactly. It starts out like, there's a transition from them trying to make a grounded film to full on M. Bison has superpowers and is shooting lightning out of his hands and flying, which again, that all tracks as far as the game is concerned, but like, where does that come from?
It does feel, because it feels like one of the two directions you can go, and I feel like comic book movies are like this too. You can either try to ground something in a more realistic world, or you can just fully lean into the insanity. This movie wants to do both, and eventually just it starts as like, okay, this is going to be like a moderately serious action movie about a conflict. By the way, a Latin dictator in a clearly like Asian country. I don't know what happened here geopolitically that led to Bison's reign of Shadaloo.
That's what I was always confused about with M. Bison. Like, where is Shadaloo? Is it seems like it's North Korea geographically, but yeah, he's definitely
he's a very like Latin American dictator.
Right,
I will say the movie it's Thailand in reality.
Oh,
is where this was shot. So
shot.
so it's Shadaloo. Thailand is standing for Shadaloo. So It's definitely, and it has that feel. It has a very East Asian feel.
Well, sure, all the villains are Asian.
Yeah.
So
Except for the
nothing
main one.
problematic there. Except for the main, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, well, I mean, there's so many characters because I also want to talk about Wes Studi's insane performance as Sagat.
So I got the Muay Thai fighter. That was a weird choice.
Lot of weird stuff not thought out in this movie, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And very expensive.
Dalston-
This movie also very expensive
Yeah.
for the moment. It should be $35
it's so
million
funny.
movie at the time.
It's expensive, and you can tell more money went into this than your run of the mill action shelf style film of the time.
Right.
But it also does still look terrible.
Well, a lot of it is very set, especially down the stretch. You realize how much of it is set bound.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
They did shoot a lot in Thailand, and the parts where like the boats are going through the water, you're like, oh shit, yeah, that's a real place.
Yeah.
But then immediately they go to a soundstage in Vancouver.
Right, exactly. And you're like, oof, okay.
Yeah, I think that's another thing too. Is like actually it's a thing where some of the production value of the real location is actually then hurting the parts where you're like, okay, now we're at Sagat's fighting tournament area, and once again we're clearly just like inside a soundstage.
Right.
On a clearly very well designed set, but still very much feels like a set.
Yeah, and especially that fighting ring. That's like the most Street Fighter that the movie felt. You know what I mean?
And that's like in the first half hour, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And then everything else is like a James Bond film. But yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I do think we were talking about that at the very beginning. How do you make a Street Fighter movie? Clearly, D'Souza was just like, you make it a James Bond movie. That's
that formula's successful, so we'll just do that.
The end of this, once again, the end in particular is so Bondian. Once they're assaulting M. Bison's base and stuff like that, that feels like a Roger Moore era James Bond movie.
It does, yeah, like very Moonraker,
and very much so, yeah. Where it's just like you have your two armies colliding, and M. Bison is monologuing. I mean, M. Bison is very, very Bond villainy.
Yeah, but again, no notes on Raul Julia.
No, across the board. And I will say, actually. The reviews of the time would agree with us. The one highlight that everybody is like, well, he's fucking amazing in this thing.
Yeah.
Like, borderline saves the movie. It's like he's that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And actually, I would say the other person who, despite the script letting her down, Ming-Na Wen is a really good choice for Chun-Li.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was the other person I wanted to shout out. She was awesome. She emanated sort of badass energy, you know what I mean?
That's something
she delivered. Her lines were so like
her whole career has been that she just rules. She just has that commanding presence on screen. She apparently, there's a thing about, she was on ER at the time this came out, and apparently there's some story about her going back to ER after seeing the cut of this and going, my career is over. I just saw this movie. And it was according to her, it was George Clooney who said, you're gonna be fine. You can weather this. You're really good.
Yeah, and she, she's done a lot of voiceover work, which is cool. Like, obviously, Mulan, she's very known for. But like since then, I mean, she's very
and I mean, and now she's a major character in the Disney Plus Star Wars shows.
Yeah.
So no, she's doing just fine.
She's doing good.
Yeah.
But I understand. I understand that fear that she had, for sure.
Like we're saying too, I mean, I think, and it's part of the thing in the movie is that there's so many characters that you are like, she's great, but she also like disappears for huge sections, or she has to be even though they never fully make her a damsel in distress. She is captured at M. Bison's place for a long time. They always have her like kicking people and stuff. It never really feels like she's completely depowered or anything like that. But it does just slow down her. Okay, let's get back to Ken and Ryu, because I think we were talking about that. Right. Yes. The way that it's just like you can even feel the script being like, yeah, we got to put these guys in it.
Yeah, they're like the main characters of the actual game, so we should probably put them in there somewhere.
It is so weird how much they are pushed to the side of this when, if you know anything about the games, like they're the main thing.
Yeah. They're con men, is that right?
Con men / smuggler?
But they're not smuggling real weapons. They're
Right.
selling them fake plastic
Toys.
tennis ball shooting
Yeah.
weapons.
So they're that I think that's to make us be like, oh, so they're good guys.
I guess, yeah, they're conning bad guys.
Because they're seemingly selling Sagat weaponry is how we meet them.
Yes. Are we supposed to believe that they're a couple? Because
I
I'm
mean,
kind of getting.
oh, I got that energy 100%. No question about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Ryu's more into the relationship. Ken needs to be talked into it, I think. He's got this like machismo thing.
Boy, I wish the movie had leaned into that if it was just Ken is in denial about his homosexual feelings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like, you can't deny your feelings, Ken.
Yeah.
They are almost never not in the movie together. They are always a duo. And they're almost often their own movie for large sections of it.
Correct, yeah. But yeah, it like who they are doesn't matter.
Nope.
Like we don't get any motivation for any character really at any point other than everyone hates M. Bison. That's
the agreed upon. I mean, it's the classic action movie thing of like, we may all have differing things, but we all hate that guy, right? So let's go, kill him.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I can understand the frustration. Like nobody really got time to breathe except for Raul Julia.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like the only reason he was good is because the script gave him time to be. Like obviously he did the work, but like, yeah, even if everybody else put in the same amount of work that Raul did, I don't know if they would have been able to showcase any sort of deeper character.
No, and it's an interesting thing because this thing is totally sold as a Van Damme movie, and they paid Van Damme $8 million for this. It was his biggest payday, but yet even he is not really this movie kind of doesn't have a protagonist.
No, exactly.
Which is a huge problem.
Switches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, right now Ken and Ryu are the protagonists, and then sometimes Chun-Li is the protagonist, and then once everybody gets captured, then Guile is the protagonist.
Yeah. It's sort of like wherever the movie is currently taking place, that's the protagonist.
Yes.
It's either Chun-Li, a Ken and Ryu two-hander, or a Guile movie. Yeah. And like you said, the only consistent factor in that then is the true protagonist, M. Bison, I guess.
M. Bison, exactly. Yeah, everybody else is just challenging his role as the protagonist.
Because like even Sagat as a villain is still connected to M. Bison's villain.
Yes. Yeah, they're out like tentative allies.
Yeah, and I gotta say, man, another waste of a career. Wes Studi, who plays Sagat, is coming off of an Academy Award nomination for Last of the Mohicans before this.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
John, that's crazy.
He makes this between Last of the Mohicans and Heat is the next movie he makes after
I'm
this.
assuming like this was already being made before he won an Oscar, but like that's so crazy to go from oh my god.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He's all right. He's done just fine.
Yeah.
This didn't hurt him, but it is just like, damn, that is a hard fall. I said he's he's in the I guess he's in the Avatar. I don't really go to those, but he's in those. He's doing just fine. But it is just like, I mean, and because it's just like when he shows up, I'm just like, oh look, it's Wes Studi in an eye patch, and he's doing what he can with a nothing part.
Just nothing.
Well, because like
he's got nothing.
I do like that the literally I'm looking at the Wikipedia and I like the way the cast is broken down into Street Fighters, Shadaloo Warriors, and then non-canonical characters.
I'm trying to think who is non-canonical.
It's mostly like that AN official guy and then Captain Sawada.
Sawada.
I guess he's one of the guys with Guile.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Because we should talk about the fact that with Guile's team, by the way, Colonel William F. Guile, as it says on his stealth boat.
Yeah.
I will say, the whole part where they're driving the boat, I was thinking, man, if you're a fan of the game, here's what you were hoping for: an extended boat sequence.
Sequence. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
It's a game. It's a fighting game. I hope he drives a boat for 20 minutes.
Do you think? Yeah. When I was watching when I was watching it with Maggie, she's just like, "Is this supposed to be cool?" I'm confused.
100% it is. In that James Bondian kind of way, where it's supposed to be like,
Yeah.
check out Giles, and also it does feel like, hey kids, next time you're at Kmart, make sure your parents buy you Giles' stealth boat.
Right? Yeah.
It
Yes,
really
absolutely.
does feel like, because there. I mean, this, like all of these, we talked about this last week with the Super Mario Bros. There was definitely an action figure line and vehicles, and not the case with the Super Mario. There was a tie-in game. There was a movie, Street Fighter the movie game.
Was there?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Tom, what was it?
I mean, it was a Street it was Street Fighter, but they look like the actors.
Okay, so it's still a fighting game, but
Yeah, I think it just is a Street Fighter. Let me see. I must have the thing about it here.
Okay.
Because Street Fighter.
That's kind of like that thing of like something was a movie and then it got turned into a musical and then the musical got turned into
So
a movie,
there was both a console and a coin operated arcade game, Street Fighter the movie, the game. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing this.
It was basically, it sounds like it was basically just like a remodded Street Fighter game.
Yeah.
But
Like
they
a
just
pirated.
except made by Capcom.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you better believe there was a comic book called Street Fighter: The Battle for Shadaloo.
Mm-hmm.
Which there's a very good chance I had. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I had a Guile figure from this. I might have bought a Guile. I don't remember. I had a lot. I always had the I always had the previous summer's block because they put them in the bargain bin at KB Toys. So I always had whatever last summer, the action figures, whatever last summer's blockbuster was.
Did you get? You didn't get a Blanca?
I might add a Blanca. Although I might have had a Blanca from the animated. Because you got to remember, there was also the animated series.
God, I didn't watch that either.
I really like that. I think I had a Blanca
yeah.
from the animated series.
Okay, well that's probably for the best
Because we haven't breached the Blanca subject yet.
Right, and that was the first of my consternation as far as like you can't just name people. You know, I didn't realize they were going to do a Hulk transformation.
Holy God! And Hulk is exactly right, but specifically the Lou Ferrigno Hulk is what this guy looks like.
Yes, exactly.
Boy, I
really
felt like you guys had a lot of money right up until it came time to do the Blanca makeup.
I think that's where it all fell apart.
Because the makeup, they just painted a guy green.
Yes, they did just paint him green.
But the wig is really the crime here, right?
The wig is the worst part. I mean, let me tell you, good wigs are so expensive. They're so expensive.
Wigs are a hard thing to deal with. There's a reason, like, if you don't have to, don't do wigs in movies.
Yeah. But this is cheap even for bad wigs. Like this is I don't know what the fiber is supposed to be coming out of this man's head, but like
it really does look like they got like a party store wig and just jammed it on him and started shooting.
Yes, absolutely.
Because this was what we find out here is Blanca, of course, was Carlos Charlie. Because he's American, so he's like, "No, not Carlos, you're Charlie."
Yeah. You're not from Brazil. Shut up.
It's one of the few. It's one of the few things that because the movie is so light on plot, but the plot is that Bison has taken a bunch of people hostage, including Guile's best friend Charlie.
Yeah, and it's turning only him into a super soldier. They don't want to come up with more super soldiers.
It's the starting place, right? Is I guess the idea is like he's the test subject, and they're really like Clockwork Oranging this guy.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And
or Severance season 2. You know.
Yeah, they've got him in the goggles with the flashing images and stuff,
showing him images of like hate or like of negativity or I don't know.
Because the big move that Guile makes is he hacks. I don't. Once again, it's a very '90s idea. They somehow tap into that feed to start showing video of his past life, of when he and Guile, with their
Oh.
respective significant partners.
It was. Oh, right. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm like, when they cut to that, I'm like, is Guile like married? Who is this woman he's with?
It's not clear.
Yeah.
It's not clear.
It's never explained.
No, it was Dulcime, Doctor.
Oh, that's right.
You know,
Lest we
who's
forget
working
about yet another
for
character
M.
who's
Bison.
in here.
Another character who in the games is like a Buddhist monk who has stretchy arms and shoots fireballs.
Yeah,
yoga fireballs.
none of that comes into play here.
No.
He's just science guy.
He's just science man, and he feels bad for Blanca. So yeah, he switches
right.
it from hate
That's what
to
it
love.
is. That's
and one
what
of
it
my
is.
favorite
Yeah.
moments is when M. Bison is like, "Why is Blanca fighting on the side of the Street Fighters?" What is a Street Fighter? But we don't have time.
The way they toss that around, like, and you're just like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's the famous "How did this get made?" quote, of course.
Oh, right.
June was the one who asked, "What is a Street Fighter?"
But yeah,
I mean, the movie has no answer for her, unfortunately.
They have no answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so M. Bison checks like his brain. I don't know what he does, but he clicks on like what's going through
Oh my god.
Blanca's head, and it's a small child playing with a puppy dog, and he goes, "No,
No, damn it! The one thing I didn't count on.
so silly,
Damn.
it's so stupid."
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Man, yeah, no, very dumb. Also, can another character we need to broach the subject of is Zangief.
Zangief, best character other than Raul Julia.
Zangief's thing at the end when he goes, "Wait, Bison is a bad guy."
You were getting paid?
All right, I laughed. I actually laughed at that line.
There's a couple moments where I laughed at him.
Yeah.
There's
that guy's funny.
He's very funny. There's like the truck filled with explosive coming towards them, and he's like, and they're watching it on a video feed, and he's like, "Quick, change the channel," as if that's gonna fix it.
Andrew Bryniarski, who I didn't recognize as Zangief, believe it or not, but I looked him up, and I don't know how familiar you are with the film Batman Returns. I've seen it about 50 times.
Is he Bane?
No, that's Batman and Robin.
Right.
He is so fucking funny in Batman Returns because he plays Christopher Walken's son in Batman Returns, but he's a big muscle-bound guy. But he makes the brilliant decision to do it in a Christopher Walken voice. So he's going, "Dad, we have to get to the charity event."
Papa.
Yeah. And I'm going like, you know what? This guy's funny. Based on that performance and this Zangief performance, I like this guy's vibe. Honestly, Dad, look out. Batman's here. You know, like that kind of stuff. He's very funny in that movie. It's a very funny choice. That I believe from... Yeah. By the way, Batman Returns rules. I recommend a rewatch.
He's in Firefly.
Actually he works a lot. He's actually a real deal actor.
He was the big muscly henchman who's like, "I will find you," you know, blah blah blah, and he gets kicked into. Oh my god, that part's so funny.
It's really fun.
Guy's great.
This guy's great. This guy's a really fun character actor, actually, who's played a lot of.
I don't think he would be because he's just so like big and I don't know, but he's so silly.
He's played he's brought a lot of personality to these henchman roles. He also eventually takes over the Leatherface part in the later Texas Chain, which obviously for his size makes sense, right?
It
Which we'll talk about someday when we get to Campbell and Jones Meet the Slashers. Someday. Well, we're getting closer all the time, actually. I just want to see if we talked
about monsters.
We're getting close. We're about to start recording the 2020s, so we're
that is real close.
Yeah, we're almost caught up. Oh, the other person I was gonna say, I'm just looking through what characters we not talked about. We have not talked about Australian pop star Kylie Minogue playing Cammy.
That's true. When we were watching it, Maggie's like, "Is that Kylie Minogue? What is she doing in this film?" I
Not
I don't
nothing is
know
the
if I
answer.
know any of her songs.
Oh, you must remember the locomotion. Do the
Locomotion.
locomotion with me
Oh, that was
now.
her. Okay, okay,
That
okay,
was
okay.
her
Gotcha.
big. That was her big one. Yeah.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
she has some other ones too,
Uh,
but that one's like everybody knows that song.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, she certainly looks like Cammy. I don't
And I
know.
mean, and literally by the end of the movie, I was like, "Oh shit! Look, they even." She's like, "I'm gonna take off my jacket," and now I look like Cammy from the games.
Yeah, she's literally wearing these.
She to me is a perfect example of neither good nor bad because this is not a character.
Not a character at all. Yeah.
She looks like Cammy, and that's all they needed to do because
Yeah.
Cammy is just there to be next to
She
Guile.
has. Not exactly, but not be the love interest, so there's no like development there because yeah, Guile's got his eyes set on Chun-Li, obviously, but
Yeah,
yeah.
in reality, it went a different way, and
What?
perhaps Jean-Claude Van Damme had an affair with Kylie Minogue that might have ended his marriage during the making of this movie.
Okay.
He
Wow.
was a real fucking mess. He was a real fucking
Yeah,
mess during this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's one of 4 marriages our friend JCVD has been through.
Oh God.
Yeah.
One marriage per name.
Well, I will say the woman he's currently married to, he was married to from 1987 to 1992 and divorced, and then they remarried in 1999. So I think actually that would be the woman that he cheated on, and they've since gotten back together, and they've been married since 1999. So
Well, I hope the best for that.
I
but,
only wish the man the best. Really, we love the
Yeah.
guy, no question. But yeah, he's a fucking mess. And it's D'Souza. There's a lot of quotes from D'Souza that like it was a real. This was not a thing where he was quietly addicted. It was a real problem. Like it really damaged production of the movie. How fucked up he was.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that they. There's a very funny anecdote in the trivia that Universal hired a guy to basically be Van Damme's watcher to make sure he didn't get in trouble, but that guy just partied alongside him. Yeah. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
That man.
The studio
whoever that
hired
person is a hero.
the studio hired a wrangler to keep an eye on Van Damme, but that person was a bad influence himself. Van Damme would often call in sick, leave the set, show up late or not at all, forcing D'Souza to find other scenes to film to make up for lost time. So perhaps his lack of presence in the movie is just the fact that he wasn't around a lot, apparently.
That could be. That very well could be.
Yeah, because I will say, they did not get their $8 million worth out of him. At all.
No.
At all.
No.
And then you've got Raul Julia, who's dying, but is bringing everything to set.
Yeah. Yeah.
So... but everybody apparently really liked Kylie Minogue. That's stated that the crew liked her quite a bit. That she was very nice to everybody.
Yeah.
Because
wish
I don't.
she had
I
more
mean,
to
she
do.
wasn't. No, and still isn't really known as an actress. I don't think. So I don't think she had the ego of a Van Damme at this time. Van Damme has long since admitted, I damaged my own career by the way I acted.
Yeah.
Did you?
He seems pretty grounded now.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, he's in his 60s now. I think he's realized, I cost myself a lot of stuff. Interesting note for next week's movie, which is Mortal Kombat. Jean-Claude Van Damme turned down the role of Johnny Cage for this movie.
Oh God.
He chose
Even
to play
though
Guile.
Johnny Cage was based on Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, that would have made a lot more sense. But
It
they
would have,
But he
yes.
instead chose to do it probably just because they were willing to pay him more. I can't imagine it's like, I want to play this part because what is this part?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That original Mortal Kombat, all the characters do feel pretty distinct. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
At least compared to this film.
Although I will say, I would have liked, well, not to spoil my opinion of next week's movie, but I would have liked a Johnny Cage who was an actual martial artist like Van Damme. That would have been nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Did you spot one of our favorites in this, Benny the Jet Urquidez? Legendary kickboxer. He's in there a little bit, but he was mainly here as a fight choreographer and is in the movie a little bit. Although I gotta say, Benny the Jet.
Benny the Jet. Hold on.
Yeah.
Who did
Hollywood,
or was he just like a?
He's just around. When they arrest Ken and Ryu and put them on the truck and stuff. He's like one of the guys that gets taken alongside them. I think he's at Sagat's fighting tournament.
That sounds right.
Yeah. I will say, of the fighting that's in the movie, it's not great, I think, because of the circumstances they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Van Damme's not around a lot. Obviously, Raul Julia is very limited in his physicality. Yeah. So there's a lot of cutting around in the fighting that doesn't feel by design.
Yes, it feels like patchwork, like yeah, post-op.
Like it's not a choice to do like really cut up fight scenes. It really is like, oh, we have to cut to a stuntman now.
Yeah, and even like Jean-Claude Van Damme doesn't even do that much.
He does a couple of kicks, but not certainly if you're a fan of his movies. I mean, I agree with people who talk about like, shit, Bloodsport's a better Street Fighter movie than this is.
Exactly. Yes.
Or Kickboxer, any of the Quest, any of his martial arts. He's made a number of martial arts competition movies.
Right, exactly, and they're all more of a Street Fighter film.
It's really interesting what little. I mean, I think Ryu was probably the guy you see doing the most fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was he a martial artist?
I gotta look this guy. Impression. Byron Mann is that actor, who, like a lot of people in this movie, continues to act in a bunch of stuff to this day.
Yeah, was like I would say came out of this looking pretty good.
Yeah,
only
I think
by comparison.
Yeah, and he's in a ton of stuff.
He was pretty good.
Yeah,
he was definitely a lot better than Ken, who.
You hardly ever see Ken fight, really.
Yes, yeah.
I don't think he actually has but it seems like he trained the most. They talk about Benny the Jet Urquidez specifically trained him one-on-one.
Excellent.
He was a professionally ranked tennis player, so at least an athletic guy.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh wow, he is a doctor. He is a doctorate in law. In addition to being, wow, this guy is he's a member of the California Bar and a working actor. Wow.
Do you think he's ever represented somebody in full Ryu?
Could you show up in the gi? I would just love that.
Can you please show up?
I love when they get to of course, and it's like, I better put on my red gi and I'll put on my white gi and we'll look like we do in the game. Like,
yeah.
You better believe it.
When everybody gets into costume, are we led to who specifically for Chun-Li because she's being held hostage?
Yeah.
Did she do her own makeup and hair, or did one of Raul Julia's henchmen do it?
Now I will send you to work with my makeup man. He's going to make you look gorgeous. Yeah. Raul Julia. There's so many amazing moments in this. The one everybody quotes is like, "It was the most memorable day of your life, but for me, it was a Tuesday."
Oh my God, so good.
It's the best. But also my other favorite moment is him escaping into his little closet with the thing when they release the gas, and him just being like, "Yes." Ooh.
Just the look he's giving, like, "Ooh, they're gonna get it now."
Yeah,
it was so good. He's so good.
He's so good. The other thing I love is his whole monologue about making super soldiers, like, not for evil. For good. No, he just I will say that the movie's a recommend for his performance alone.
Absolutely.
I think it is actually worth your time. Yeah. It's a very silly movie. I think it's a bad movie that's actually a pretty easy watch, I found.
100%.
It's only about an hour 40, which is normally too long for an action movie, but there's a million characters. I'm never bored during it.
No, I was never bored. Yeah, this held my attention.
My other favorite moment is Van Damme in the stealth boat putting in a home videotape for him to watch just to remember
while he's doing the mission. Yeah, that was so stupid.
Hold on, I need to re-up why I'm getting vengeance.
And he's driving the boat, if I'm not mistaken.
Presumably, it seems like it.
Yeah. That made me laugh out loud. Raul Julia controlling the explosives with the Street Fighter controls was
insane, but so much fun. I mean, I do wish the whole movie had the tone of the last half hour, because the last half hour is so much fun, and it's also just explosions and kicking and like jumping. There's so much jumping from platform to platform. Which is interesting because it's not a platforming game.
No.
But there's a lot of that. But once again, that feels very. I also love the moment when they both Guile and M. Bison send their armies away so they can fight one-on-one. And watching them all still with their guns just back out of the room. Get out of here.
Yeah. That was classic. I loved Guile faking his own death.
Yep.
But then immediately undercutting it by telling everybody that he's still, you know what I mean? Like, because at first I was like, why did he fake his own death? Because he's just walking around talking with everybody.
Yeah. Who was that? Who was that meant to fool?
So when we revisited it, because we had to go back, because we were confused, like, why did he fake his own death?
Yeah, okay.
It was to ingratiate Ken and Ryu into M. Bison's.
Okay, right. Because they had killed Guile, but then immediately.
But immediately he's like, okay, well, I'm still here, and he's like.
Also, when he comes back to life is another one of my favorite moments, which is just when, for no reason, Chun-Li, who is a reporter in this movie,
yes,
goes into full ninja costume to sneak inside the by the way, the AN, the Allied Nations, not the United Nations.
Yeah.
Can't get sued. Don't get sued. I like all that stuff though, because I like the idea that this is an alternate reality. But then,
where everybody does martial arts.
Where martial arts solve everything.
Yeah. No, again, if they just leaned into that the whole time, this would have been.
Yeah,
a significantly better film.
Well, because I do think like a key example is when E. Honda and Zangief are fighting, and it's kind of in the background. You're like, no, wait, but that's what I want to see.
Yeah. Oh my God, you just reminded me. There's the sequence of them fighting on top of like a building model, and it's playing Godzilla like sound effects.
Yes. It's out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's just like there's Japanese people commenting on it, and it just turns into a Godzilla reference for
that really feels. Well, did you see that there are like 6 credited editors on this movie? That's not a good sign. That's not a movies don't have more than 2 editors for the most part. Yeah. Even 2 is pretty rare.
In the same room together.
Yeah, my God, the idea that they were just cycling through editors. Oh man,
I can only imagine the mess that the raw footage of this film, you know.
Well, I mean,
how do you even put this into?
I will say it is kind of unfair. Clearly, D'Souza did not have, a great experience doing. So the idea, it's 6 editors.
Lord.
But I was going to say he didn't have, he wasn't given the best resources here when you have a drug addicted actor and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of cobbling together stuff.
Yeah,
and bring in another editor. This one just burnt out.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming is like somebody's like, you know what, fuck this. I don't want to.
It's not worth it. Nothing can be made of this footage, man.
Yeah.
I also like that there was specifically a costume designer just for Bison's costume.
Interesting.
There's a woman credited with just making the M. Bison suit, which I thought was interesting because it just looks like his suit from the games.
Yes, it is.
I don't know.
Just that.
I don't know why the idea of like we're gonna spend extra money to get one person to come in and design a suit to look like exactly what I think it would look like.
Did she also design his like leisure suit?
I hope so. When he gets into his comfy clothes.
And he's got a separate hat for when he's like
that
comfy.
Is another thing I laughed out loud at, that he changed his hat, and it's a slightly different hat.
But you also never see him without the hat.
No.
I think is important.
Oh no, because this movie does stay to like the video game logic of everybody has their distinct. Even when they change outfits, like Chun-Li has the most costume changes, but you still do feel like it's like now it's Ninja Chun-Li, now it's undercover aerial dancer Chun-Li. You know, like
exactly. Yeah.
It's all very specific skins on the characters.
Yes. But yeah, great. Honestly, good time. Like obviously,
super fun though stupid movie.
As far as like action shelf movies,
back in the day,
treating action shelf as a genre.
Yeah.
Now, but yeah, as an action shelf film, this is great. And this is a lot of fun, and I do recommend people watching it.
I agree. I unfortunately could not find. It doesn't seem like the legendary Roger Ebert saw this movie.
What?
He's like, skip it.
What?
Yeah, he told the Chicago Sun-Times, forget it.
I will quit before I see the film.
All right, so the movie grossed What cost $35 million. Worldwide, it ended up grossing 99.4.
Oh, okay. So they made
Yeah,
some money.
but a big disappointment in the U.S.
Yes.
All right, so Lisbon, I will ask you, as I do for all of these episodes, where do you think that placed in the top 200 movies of 1994?
Oh God. Okay.
Where do you think it's?
It's 1994. Let me.
Let me
here.
give you, as I usually do. Let me give you the top 5 of
Okay.
1994. All right.
Okay.
Number 1, The Lion King, highest grossing movie of the year. Number 2, very weird movie, does not age super well in my opinion, Forrest Gump.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Number 3, one of my favorite movies, True Lies. Number 4, forgot it made this much money, Tim Allen's The Santa Claus. That thing was huge.
No, it was huge. It was.
That was a
huge, yeah.
massive blockbuster hit. And number 5, The Flintstones, the live-action Flintstones movie, which was also
Right,
big.
Okay.
So where did Street Fighter land once again with a $99.4 million gross?
Gross, and that's including worldwide.
I'm looking at worldwide figure. I always
I'm
look at
assuming
worldwide.
the U.S. gross was probably. I mean, it certainly wasn't the 35 million. That
33.4 US
Okay, so it was just under what it needed to break even in the U.S.
in the US. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this is around the. And this is out of how many films?
200.
200.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 125.
Oh wow. 13th.
13th.
13th of the 13 of the 200. It's in 13th place with 9 for worldwide box office.
Oh, I was so John. I was so off.
Yeah. Well, this was an era where like if you made anything close to 100, that was big. Because like
that's true.
The top it's just under number 12 was Maverick, the Mel Gibson Western. And that made 101. And that's so the top 12 all made over 100. And then this was the first one to dip under 100. So it's between Maverick and The Client, which is a Susan Sarandon, John Grisham adaptation.
Okay, gotcha. So, So it wasn't like, I mean, it was a failure for sure. They obviously didn't make any more.
Well, I mean, they... Listen, next we will talk about another Street Fighter movie they made, but not a direct sequel to this.
Was it The Legend of Chun-Li?
Yeah, you'll be back for The Legend of Chun-Li.
John, they if I'm not mistaken, because I watched the trailer for The Legend of Chun-Li immediately after finishing this film.
Yes, yeah. And which you've never seen that as well?
I've never seen that.
I will say this. I have never seen that either.
If I'm not mistaken.
No, she's mixed race, Kristen Krug.
Okay. I couldn't tell from the trailer.
She is, because I know her from Smallville. She is, I believe, part Chinese, I want to say. Okay. Kristen Krug. But yes, is an interesting choice for Chun-Li. Not nearly as good a choice as Ming-Na Wen, who's just fucking amazing. Although apparently has somewhat of a martial arts background, actually, Kristen Krug. So we'll see. I also have never seen that movie, so that'll be an interesting episode because neither one of us have seen it. Legendarily terrible, though.
Yes.
Like famously bad. Bad.
Yeah.
Real bad. Yeah, anyway. So that'll be on the next one. But let's talk about some highs and lows before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Listen, let's talk about let's start with the highs because I always try to land initially closer to where we're thinking. I think both of us are, positive about this movie in a certain direction. This is not a great film by any means. But I think it's still a pretty fun watch. I own the Blu-ray Steelbook edition of this, which, by the way, the coolest thing about the Steelbook, not only does it have a really cool original art piece on the cover, inside it comes with a real bison buck.
Oh, excellent!
So I actually have a bison buck. I do like. I actually the best piece of writing, like legitimate storytelling, is Sagat ending up with a thing full of bison bucks. I actually thought that's good. Keep that. In a better Street Fighter movie, I would still do that. I really like that. That's a good thing.
Very funny.
Also, the portrait of him on the horse is amazing. And that is the back of the Steelbook Blu-ray is just the portrait of him riding the horse, which is great. Anyway, Okay, here we go. Let's look at this. All right, here's somebody who's this comes to us from How Could You Not Trust Clown Baby 06006.
Oh, that's my favorite reviewer.
Yeah, title of the review: Classic 90s. Ignore all the haters. Yes, it is cheesy as hell, but that's the 90s in video game movies for you. What, you thought the new Mortal Kombat was less cheesy and better made? Scorpion literally does the get over here from the video game. Maximum cheese. This movie is a ton of fun. They nailed most, if not all, of the characters. I'm going to back out of it. No. They didn't really nail any of the characters. Also, I'm going to get to a lot of great one-liners. No. Here's the thing, and this is it screams of D'Souza, is he does try to give Guile like John McClane stuff to say. That has never been Van Damme's strength. Ever. No. The one I distinctly remember from watching it last night is I'm the collection agent, and your ass is 6 months overdue.
Yeah.
That's number one. It's a little wordy. It's kind of more than a one-liner, and even when he's not coked out of his mind, that was never his thing. That's a Schwarzenegger thing. Leave that to Arnold or Willis. Stallone can do stoic versions of it. He's not as funny as the other guys, but he can kind of do it, but not that. Anyway, good action. Yeah. Jean-Claude Van Damme versus Raul Julia. How can you beat that? Okay. Let me back out of the review once again. Mm-hmm. Even if I didn't know Raul Julia was fatally, critically ill here, I will say that face-off does not scream like, "Oh, it is on, baby! It is on to the break." It's like revered character actor Raul Julia is fighting martial arts legend.
Actions, like, I'm not like, ooh, I wonder who's going to win that fight,
When it comes down to them hand-to-hand, it's more interesting when he's flying around with electricity powers, and then you're like, okay, now we've evened the field a little bit. He does, and also Van Damme does, of course, do the flex right to camera with the American flag tattoo, that I will say, also not super well put on.
Looked hand painted.
It looked like body paint, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
It didn't look like it was on his skin like a tattoo.
No.
I think that may be a thing that high def hurt in particular.
Probably.
Anyway, how can you beat that? General Guile's, he's a colonel, sir. General Guile's speech to rouse the troops is epic. It's not quite William Wallace in Braveheart, but it's damn close. It's
not quite.
It's nowhere near William Wallace, or I think we're in agreement on this, cinema's greatest rousing monologue, Bill Pullman, Independence Day.
Well, yes.
Not that, and then number two to me, a more recent one, but the second I saw it, I put it number two, Idris Elba in Pacific Rim. We are canceling the apocalypse.
Yeah.
That's good shit, man. This one is, as you said, confusing. Yeah, anyway.
Confusing and confused.
I think you'll like this next sentence, Listman. I've come to this conclusion. People who don't like movies like this, or Anaconda, or Deep Blue Sea, for other examples, are, to simply put it, miserable. That's the first thing I agree with this person said. If you cannot get on board with those three movies, because all three of those are dumb but fun movies.
Sure.
Those same people go around telling everyone they've seen the recent foreign film they were told to watch, as if that makes them smart or cultured. Lemmings and idiots. This movie is 90s action at its finest. 10 out of 10 stars. I enjoy it. It is I have such a affinity for 90s action. We both do. This is like 85th. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's so low in Van Damme movies alone. Like, Universal Soldier's better than this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even from, if you only consider, 90s action films, you remove, hoity-toity, whatever this person's complaining about.
Yeah.
Even still, it's like middling at best. But
I mean, it's still fun. It's fun, but it is not good. Let's get maybe a more of a personal story from the Los Angeles legend himself. IMDb user, Los Angeles legend.
Oh, okay.
Title of the review, Los Angeles legend, Magic Johnson. No, Los Angeles. Los Angeles Legend
Bring that
titles
duel
their
to
review embarrassing.
Mm.
I remember the day I went to go see this movie. We're flashing back. Got a tinge of nostalgia on this one. I remember the day when I went to go see this movie. I was a high school sophomore who just loved the video game. I was excited at the idea that this film was being made, even with Van Damme in its starring role. I thought it made no sense that he'd be playing Guile the American, but oh well. I think we all thought that.
Yeah.
Weirdest casting. I was so pumped and excited to finally... Actually, let me pull out of this for a second. Even though he's not American, you know who would have been better? Dolph. Dolph would looks exactly like Guile.
He looks the part, yeah.
Yeah,
And honestly,
it is closer to American than Van Damme in his voice. He's got a little bit of an accent, but is more believably American.
And honestly, JCVD in this movie is so out of it that I can't even say that Dolph would do a worse performance, you know?
I think Dolph at least wouldn't have been on cocaine, you know?
Yeah.
He probably would have been in the movie. You would have seen him more, maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
Right. He would have been present during the filming.
Yeah, he might have actually done some fights rather than just like 3 kicks here and there. Anyway. Yeah. It was almost that feeling that Star Wars geeks get at new Star Wars premieres. And then the movie started. Ha ha. There's a haha in the review. Oh, okay. Man, this movie was just so terrible in its live action format. The characters were poorly embodied by their actors. They weren't dead on either. Oh, they weren't dead on either. The Doctor, give me a break. Yeah, the movie is just awful. I remember the theater being packed, and as the movie kept going, I just started to slouch and hide in my seat. I was just embarrassed to be watching this fiasco of a movie. The acting is terrible. The plot is terrible. Everything is a mess. I just couldn't wait for it to end. When it did, I just wanted to get the hell out of the theater as soon as possible so that no one I knew would know I just sat through that movie. Avoid this movie at all costs. Mortal Kombat is far superior a movie to this garbage and takes its approach a lot more serious. All right, I don't know if we'll talk about it. Obviously, I'll talk about it on the show next week. I don't know if Mortal Kombat's more serious, but it's more sincere, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
In its treatment of the game, it's very sincere about trying to capture that game.
Yes.
But I wouldn't call that a serious movie. Yeah.
It's still very silly.
In fact, actually, I think the silliness of it is better. Like, I mean, the way it leans into it. Anyway, Street Fighter doesn't amuse or entertain or even make you laugh. Disagree on that. But it just deserves to get flushed down the toilet. Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, is a lot better, and their characters are identical to those of the video game. No ridiculous flipping kicks by Van Damme either. A 1 out of 10. Just hated this movie, and it doesn't do justice to the video game. 1 out of 10 stars. I think, like we said, I don't know what live action movie would have done justice to the video game. Really,
I don't know.
The idea that like the animated, well, of course the animated movie's better. That has way less heavy lifting to do, and they can be exactly like the game because they're drawings.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And
like even today, again, no one's offering, but if somebody offered me to make a Street Fighter movie, I would not. I just wouldn't.
I don't know what my way in would be. I think I would have a hard time because it's just like Mortal Kombat. I could take a crack at. I think I could write a draft of a Mortal Kombat movie. Yeah. But this, I just don't. Hey, I don't know what I would pull from. I don't know that these characters. Once again, maybe I can't say I've come close to playing every Street Fighter game or read any comics or anything like that. But these characters, just I don't know.
Yeah, they're designs.
Yeah,
they look cool. They have distinct ways of
look
fighting,
at Vega in this movie. We didn't really mention Vega. Vega is purely a design in this movie. Yes,
and he was probably the most accurate to the games.
Yeah, because he just shows up and fights the guys in the cage, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, he's got the Wolverine claws, he's got the mask.
Yeah, and you're like, there you go. That's Vega.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how the Mortal Kombat movie, which sets up next week's episode very nicely, which will have Mike Ergone and Elliot Lewis with me to talk about the Mortal Kombat movie. But that's kind of how that movie uses things, is like it's going to give you the characters as you know them from the game. And it's gonna be a little bit more focused, even if it also is objectively pretty dumb.
Yeah.
But all right, so that's that. As I said, that's next week on the show. Lisbon, of course, people can hear you every week on the Material Components podcast.
I am there.
And you'll be back sporadically throughout this season to talk about it, including your next time. We'll be talking about the next Street Fighter movie that is. By the way, did you stay through the credits of this movie?
I sure did, John.
And so you know that they did tease Bison ain't done just yet.
Oh, no. Yeah. Continue.
Yeah.
And it does the classic, countdown.
That's fun. I thought that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
As a post-credits thing, I think that's fun. But although that feels very much like Skeletor popping out of the water at the end of the Masters of the Universe movie, and you're like, yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Though, I mean, I feel like this movie and that movie are very, in my mind, very connected in a lot of ways.
Yeah. That one has Dolph, of course, as He-Man.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they feel very spiritually.
We'll cover that someday because I am planning to do a live-action cartoons adaptation season, which will also mention the aforementioned Flintstones movie will be in there too. Because that's another. Not many good ones in that either.
No.
Maybe some things should be cartoons, you guys.
Yeah, weird.
But Speed Racer's good.
Speed Racer's good.
Yeah, that's true. That's maybe about it. Anyway, so check that out. Of course, if you want more from us at the Punch Up Entertainment Network, you can head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/punchup. And you know what they can check out there, Listman? A complete archive of the aforementioned Action Shelf episodes. All of the original Action Shelf episodes are over there if you want to relive our days going through the bargain bin of DVDs that you see at a Walmart and go, who's watching those? We were.
It was us, yeah.
Yeah, it was us. So yeah, be sure to check that out over there. Once again, that's patreon.com/punchup and punchupent. And of course, you can find us on YouTube. We're youtube.com/@punchupentertainment. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Pretty cool stuff going on over there. New stuff almost every day. We have new uploads. So check that out. But Listman, thank you as always for joining me. Well, you'll be back soon, as I said.
Yes, for a much worse film.
For a much worse film, and then I'm trying to think. I don't think you're down for anything that's objectively good this season.
No. I can't remember. Has somebody already claimed Sonic 3? Has somebody already claimed
I think you're down for that.
Oh,
I think that'll be what you're going to be doing.
John, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I just saw it for the first time recently.
It's
obviously I'll watch it again.
Yeah, spoiler for that much later episode. It's really good. It's actually very good.
It hit me where it hit me in the feels, John.
I know. I saw it in the theater and was not. I having enjoyed the other two as a preview of that conversation. Having enjoyed the other two, I was not ready for this is really good. Really,
this is fun.
It's
really fun. Yeah,
and it's really heartfelt. Yeah, it's great and legitimately one of my favorite Keanu Reeves performances.
What if John Wick was a hedgehog?
Yeah, that's exactly how he plays it. Yeah. So anyway, you'll be on for that. But in the meantime, you'll get a Legend of Chun-Li. You'll get a Need for Speed. You'll get a Welcome to Raccoon City. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's weird that Welcome to Raccoon City is higher on my looking forward to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Legend of Chun-Li is going to be.
Once again, I've never seen it either. I think that'll be interesting. Neither one of us has ever. I've certainly seen the clips, the memeable clips. I know about the Chris Klein performance that everybody's obsessed with, and his line readings. I'm sure he's a nice guy. But that's going to do it. Until next week, the case file is closed.